What I want to know is what happened in Guillermo del Toro's life to have him make this movie, because my God. But I will say, like, this movie is a millennial generation movie made for today's generation. And welcome to my safe haven. Happy Monday, December 12th, everybody. Thank you guys so much for clicking on another video and joining me here on the Black Gay Comic Geek channel. If this is your first time checking out my channel, thank you so much for clicking on the video. Allow me to introduce myself. Hey, how's it going? My name is Michael. I call myself the Black Gay Comic Geek, and I always say the things that I love to talk about on my channel has blood, sex, gore, and magic, or any variation of the Force. I like to talk superheroes, I like to talk video games, I like to talk comic books, I like to talk action movies, I like to talk horror movies, I like to talk sci-fi, I like to talk fantasy, and of course, if you couldn't tell by the name, I like to talk about black representation and queer representation. So if that's something that you are interested in, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I have just passed, I'm over 7,100 subscribers, making our way. We're slowly growing this Black Gay Comic Geek train and hopefully inching towards 10,000 subscribers and then even more than that. But the best way you can help me to do that is, again, hitting the like button, because it tells YouTube that you like this video, to get the video out there to other recommended people. Watch this video to the end. Comment if you've seen this movie about Pinocchio. Are you excited about it? Did you not even know about it? Watch, like, share, comment, interact on this video for the all gay rhythm. But yeah, as I mentioned, we are here to talk about Netflix's brand new animated stop motion film called Pinocchio. It just came out this weekend. It's going to be non-spoilers, and it is directed by Guillermo del Toro. So if Guillermo del Toro is touching it, you know it's not going to be for the faint of heart. It's not Disney's Pinocchio. But with that said, it still tells a very familiar story of a father's wish magically brings a wooden boy to life in Italy, giving him a chance to care for the child. And interestingly enough, I'm very familiar with the Disney version of Pinocchio, the When You Wish Upon a Star, the Blue Fairy, Jiminy Cricket, etc. But I've actually never seen the Disney Pinocchio, whether it's the animated movie or the new movie with Tom Hanks, especially after I heard the Tom Hanks version was terrible. But despite that, I'm still very familiar with the story, the whale, and because I've seen a bunch of things showing the Disney animated story, whether it's like playing games like Kingdom Hearts where Pinocchio's featured, Pinocchio as a character on Once Upon a Time. And so even though I've never seen it, I still basically know what it is, and I basically know the entire story. And so I say all that to say, like, this is my first real dive into a Pinocchio movie. But with that said, like I said, a Guillermo del Toro movie, like, even though it's Pinocchio, when you think Pinocchio, you think Disney's Pinocchio, but this movie is not for kids, at least young kids, at least for today's young kids, because this movie is very dark. This movie is very heavy, and it deals with things that you would never think a Pinocchio movie would deal with. Not just, it deals with death, it deals with fascism, it deals with war. Like, this movie goes in a whole bunch of different places, dictatorships, etc. And the thing about this movie, it gets dark quick. And that's why I said in my intro, where I was like, I feel like this is a millennial animated movie made for today's generation. And the reason I say that is because, granted, I don't watch every single animated movie or things like that for today, but I do also feel like back in the day when I was growing up, I feel like they were more willing to go much darker in animated movies, and that's why I compare. Because think about, like, my generation, we saw Simba go through the death of Mufasa. We saw Bambi's mother die in the very beginning of the movie. We had to deal with the death of Littlefoot's mother in Land Before Time. We had to deal with All Dogs Go to Heaven. We had to go through the death of the Iron Giant with his last words being Superman. And that's a lot of what this movie reminds me of. Not only does it get dark, it gets dark quick. And it mostly stays that way throughout most of the movie, tonally speaking. Now, that's not to say there aren't moments of levity and lightheartedness in the movie, but that's sprinkled in throughout a dark world. Even the world in and of itself with the gray and muted colors. It is a dark world that takes place during World War II in fascist Italy. Imagine that. Like, the movie takes place during the reign of Mussolini. Like, this movie is so dark. You even see characters doing a Sig Heil, however you pronounce it. But like, I'm not gonna do it. But like, yeah. I was like, what is this movie? But with that said, I thought this movie was incredible. This movie is done completely stop motion animation, and the animation was gorgeous. And I even watched, because there's a documentary on Netflix that shows like the making of this movie. It's like 30 minutes, which I definitely recommend checking out. But just in the way they craft like stop motion animation, I was just like, wow, the things that humans and the beauty that human beings are able to accomplish with art, and the way stop motion, because like literally they have to take every single frame of these dolls and shoot it. And I'm just like, they mentioned that it took them 3 months just to shoot one scene that happens in this movie. So I can imagine how long it took them to make the rest of this movie, especially when COVID happened. And also in this movie, not only just is the animation incredible, but the voice acting is incredible. You have Ewan McGregor as Sebastian J. Cricket. You have Professor Filch, I think that's his name, the guy with the cat in Harry Potter. He's voicing Geppetto. Funny enough, Cate Blanchett is voicing a monkey. I can't think of the monkey's character's name, but that's the voice of Cate Blanchett. Christoph Waltz is voicing the main villain in this movie, Volpe. And you also had Tilda Swinton in this movie, who voiced the Blue Fairy. And I put it in quotes because it's a Guillermo del Toro movie. And if you have a Guillermo del Toro movie, you know you're gonna have some very interesting creature designs. And so even though she fulfilled the role of the Blue Fairy, the one that brought Pinocchio to life, it wasn't a fairy. I don't know what it was, but she was blue. But anyway, that was Tilda Swinton. So either way, you had great voice actors and just actors, period. And also the thing that because like I mentioned, I did enjoy this movie. And I think the thing that overall I also enjoyed about this movie is, even though this movie is called Pinocchio, you're mostly following Pinocchio. You're getting a lot of Pinocchio's perspective and him learning and embracing this brand new world and this brand new life that he has now been given. You're still learning and getting a lot from the character of Geppetto. Who is the character of Geppetto, both before he created Pinocchio and had him brought to life, and who was he after he got Pinocchio, and what has Pinocchio and the creation of Pinocchio done for him as a person. This movie does a great job in showing not only what can Pinocchio do for Geppetto, but what can Pinocchio do for himself. What can Pinocchio do for the world? What can Geppetto do for Pinocchio? What can Geppetto do for himself? And overall, I thought it was a good message of a father and son relationship in a fascist Italy. But yeah, overall, I thought Pinocchio was an incredible time. It is definitely worth a watch. I feel like it's definitely gonna go down in the classic of stop animation movies. And I would totally say Pinocchio is a blockbuster. I'm actually thinking of changing my ratings for the new year. I gotta really think about it, because I'm like, it's kind of getting to the point where I'm like, I don't necessarily like giving movies a grade, even though they're not literally a grade, but I still feel like, because you know, a blockbuster would be an a hit would be a B, breaking even would be a C, a miss would be a D, and a flop would be an F. But I feel like instead of grading it that way, I kind of want to say like, either I recommend it or I don't. Like, instead of saying, well, this is an A, this is not, I recommend it or I don't. But I still want to get a little bit more nuance, because there's some movies where it's like, it was decent. If it's free, I would recommend it. If you got to go to the theater, maybe wait. But I don't know. And I'm not trying to steal this from Sharana, but you know how she is like, pay or wait. That's her recommend. I either pay for it to see in the theater, but in this case, it's not a theater movie. It's Netflix, so it's a recommend. I'll think about whether I want to do that, but for now, I'm gonna say Pinocchio is a blockbuster. More specifically, the Netflix version of Pinocchio. But with that said, have you guys, gals, theys, thems, everything in between, have you seen Pinocchio, the Netflix version of Pinocchio? Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below. Also, if you can, once again, please hit that thumbs up button. and like this video to really help out with the YouTube channel and the algorithm. And if this is your first time checking out one of my videos, please check out the other videos on my channel. And if you like what you see, please subscribe for more and hit that bell notification button so you're alerted every single time I post a new video. And tell your friends, families, and neighbors about my channel to help me continue to grow. And as always, I will catch you guys next time.